It means so much to him. You are his family, just as we are his family.
This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Oh, the flood of predictable headlines is already upon us now that the Invictus Games have kicked off. As expected, it's quickly devolved into the Meghan show because, of course it has. And we still have 6 more days of this circus. But the real kicker today? The New York Post is reporting that Trump has ruled out deporting Prince Harry. I know. It's a gut punch, right? That was my reaction too. But after taking a moment to process the media's spin, I've come to see this from a different angle. One that might actually give us more reason for hope. If there is one thing we should all have burned into our brains by now, it's that the mainstream media is nothing more than a propaganda machine spinning whatever narrative or agenda that they are told to spin. The New York Post has always been a tabloid, not far from The Sun in the UK. So let's not pretend it's suddenly a bastion of journalistic integrity, okay? And if this couple has taught us anything, it's that believing everything we read is a fool's game. Yet here we are, watching people lose their minds over Trump supposedly giving Harry a free pass, when the real issue is that we're once again possibly being led down a misleading path for a reason. Let's take a closer look at what the New York Post actually said. So you see the headline, Trump rules out deporting Prince Harry. He's got enough problems with his wife. I hope you can tell that this headline is clickbait. So I want you to notice that what we have here is the New York Post doing what it does best, which is spinning a story based on what a journalist claims the president had said on Friday. Notice the glaring lack of direct quotes. That's because this isn't a statement, it's an interpretation. Then the article continues on to say, in quotes, I don't want to do that, he said. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible. End quote. So hold this quote for a second, because right after it, this is what the journalist writes. Trump took the opportunity to praise Harry's estranged older brother, William, with whom he met privately in Paris in December during the reopening ceremony of Notre Dame Cathedral. I think William is a great young man, he said. The Duke of Sussex and his illiberal American wife, Meghan Markle, have voiced disapproval of Trump over the years, including one outburst in which the Duchess called the president divisive and misogynistic. Trump, in turn, has described Harry as, quote-unquote, whipped by Markle. And then in quotes, I think poor Harry is being led around by the nose, end quote. The rest of this article then talks about the Heritage Foundation and the case. There are no more quotes coming from Donald Trump. So I want you to understand what happened here. So you can see there was not that much left to the article. When did this exchange happen between the president and the New York Post? Because going through the press briefings, I don't recall seeing the New York Post asking this question. So there's a flag for me right there. But moving into the actual quote itself by Donald Trump. So when you look at this quote in itself, it's actually 2 quotes. With the first part, it says, I don't want to do that, he said. So the logical question is, do what? We don't know what the journalist asked the president if they actually did have an exchange. And then it says, I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible. How do we know that this is pertaining to being deported or not? Or the outcome of his visa? We don't. So now after that quote allegedly came from Donald Trump, we get into this part, which misleads the reader into thinking that this is all part of the same conversation with Donald Trump that the New York Post allegedly had on Friday. But here's the thing, it's not. Now, I don't know if I'm the only one that when I read this, I was under the impression that this was the same conversation that took place with the Post and the president on Friday. Apparently not. And the way that I know this is because when I read this last line, as it says here, Trump in turn has described Harry as quote unquote whipped by Markle, and then I think poor Harry is being led around by the nose. Those statements didn't happen this past Friday. Here is the interview.
Harry is whipped. Do you know the expression whipped?
I'm familiar with the phrase.
I won't use the full expression. But Harry is whipped like no person I think I've ever seen. I'm not a fan of Meghan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. And I wasn't right from the beginning.
Said
I think
to
poor
you.
Harry is being led around by his nose, okay?
You think he's going to win?
I do. I've been a very good predictor, as you know. I predicted almost everything. It'll end, and it'll end bad.
Look at the headline again. Does anyone really believe Trump actually said this? If he had, there would be a soundbite somewhere, but there isn't. So what's really going on here? Once again, it looks like Harry and Meghan are playing their favorite game, manipulating public opinion and the courts to pressure the Trump administration into not deporting him. And let's be clear, Trump doesn't even make that decision. That falls to Kristi Noem. But here's the trick. If the New York Post pushes this fabricated narrative that Trump said so, how likely is Noem to go against her boss? You see the setup? Now imagine what happens if Harry's visa details are released and it turns out he lied. The left will take this phony Trump quote and use it as a weapon. Trump said the rules would be followed, but now, thanks to this nonsense, they've twisted the narrative to make it about Meghan. The moment, let's say, Harry gets deported, they will scream that it was never about the law. It was about Trump hating Meghan. And of course, they'll pull the race card. Let us all not forget that back in 2019, I think it was around June, the left and Meghan's PR went into overdrive, pushing the outright lie that Trump called Meghan nasty right before he was set to visit the UK. They deliberately twisted his words and ripped them out of context, just like this New York Post article, so they could spin their narrative. But here is what actually happened. During an interview with The Sun, Trump was informed about the nasty comments Meghan had made about him. His response, quote unquote, "Oh, I didn't know she was nasty." As in, I didn't know she was behaving that way or acting that way. But of course, the left saw an opportunity and ran with it, claiming Trump was attacking Meghan, that he hated women, and predictably screaming racism because Meghan is black. They ran with the lie, gaslit the public, and fueled division. And now, we're watching the exact same playbook unfold. And I think this is where we all need to put our foot down and tell these journalists to do actual journalism. Stop paying attention to these mainstream media outlets because they have been corrupted, especially with USAID government money. It has been revealed that the BBC, Political, and many other news outlets in the mainstream have been funded by the United States taxpayer. So you wonder why everything sways to the left? Now you know. And I think too many of us get sucked into these articles and we take it as gospel. I think we need to do a better job at getting in the habit of asking one simple question. Who benefits from it? In this case, I only see Meghan and Harry benefiting from this propaganda being put out today because this has gone viral. It's everywhere. Now, before we move on to talking about Invictus, otherwise known as the Meghan Show, let's play devil's advocate. For the sake of argument, that Trump really did say he won't deport Harry, that he's not going to bother him, and that somehow this is all because of that woman that he's married to and has to go home to because she's so terrible? Do we really believe Harry is getting special privileges out of Trump's so-called respect for the institution? If Trump is supposedly protecting Harry, then ask yourself this question. Would he extend the same courtesy to Prince Andrew if his name surfaces in the soon-to-be-released Epstein documents? If he's willing to shield one royal, wouldn't he shield them all? Somehow I don't see it. America comes before King Charles, and if push comes to shove, if Trump really knows the full extent of the corruption Harry and Meghan are involved in, then maybe, just maybe, keeping Harry on U.S. soil isn't the worst thing. Why? Because here, he and Meghan can actually be prosecuted, unlike Andrew, who remains out of reach in the UK. Harry right now is vulnerable to legal action in the US. If he loses his security case and fails to regain his IPP status, then he's staring down a laundry list of legal troubles. We've got Diddy's mess. We've got potential tax fraud tied to Archwell, interference in the 2020 election, and worst of all, and you know what that is, undermining the U.S. Constitution while supporting and promoting cyber terrorism with his little online squad. So maybe Harry not being deported isn't such a bad thing after all. If there's even a shred of truth to this, it could mean his real nightmare is only just beginning. Instead of getting angry, take a step back. Have faith that Trump is playing the long game and keeping his promise to putting America first. So far, he's delivering. So, my advice, don't rush to push the narrative that Harry is getting off scot-free. Something tells me his reckoning is just around the corner. Alrighty, let's move on to the Meghan show because, of course, Meghan has been saturating the online space and polluting it with her face. I'm like so beyond sick of seeing this woman, this shameless opportunist who is very clearly trying to repackage herself as a shiny new something for the Democrats. Before I show you why I just said that, let's revisit something I posted yesterday. I believe that the world does see Meghan Markle for what she is, and that's a liar and a fraud. Even people like Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey see Meghan as a liar and a fraud, but they continue to keep propping her up as some type of advocate and champion for Black women and some sort of Black messiah. So the question becomes, why are they doing that? Why are they associating themselves with this harlot? And the only thing that I could come up with is that Meghan is in some way, and I know a lot of you don't want to hear this, is being groomed for some type of political position down the road. And the only way that she can get there is by the help of these kind of people to secure the minority vote and go after the vulnerable youth, which is exactly what this woman has been doing. Ever wonder why Meghan always targets like 15 to 19-year-olds? It's because just like what Obama did, in 3 to 4 years' time, they're ready to go out there and vote. And if you can secure that base early on, then they are committed for a lifetime to this Democratic Party. And considering what had just happened with this election, the Democratic Party right now is in shambles. And I hate to say it, but they really don't have any better options. I mean, I'm not saying Meghan is an option at all. They just don't have any really good options. They all suck.
You know, what worries me the most are young people who I understand are the least likely to vote. And I can understand the feeling that they don't think they have an impact. And yet it's more important for them to vote than anyone else because they're going to be alive long after I am. and they're going to be suffering the consequences.
Do you feel?
But anyway, I haven't been really following this because I'm just so sick of her. Like, I just really don't want to see her face. But in any case, I pulled some stuff and kind of highlighting some of the hypocrisy and, you know, just how stupid she looks and the things that she says. But here they are. I guess they landed yesterday. And of course, it is being paid by the Canadian taxpayer. They flew on the jet. I mean, you know, the standard hypocrisy bullshit. But in any case, they were at some breakfast today. And then yesterday, Meghan gave her speech in welcoming her husband on the stage, which, if you listen to it, it's all about Harry, not about the athletes, nothing about the veterans, talking about family. I mean, you know, I hate to do this to you, but you have to see how generic this woman is and unoriginal. And the comparisons to all the speeches that she has been making, they're all the same. There's no difference. She just shuffles around the words that she has and then she spits them out. She looks truly stupid. But I give her one thing. I give her the fact that she can present well. When you look at Meghan here, if you didn't know any better, She could have been announcing or introducing someone from the DNC, because it honestly does look like that. And I think that's intentional. I think subliminally they want you to think that, or at least that's what I got from it. But you decide. It's Meghan, the one-trick pony.
Hello, you. Hi, everybody. So I was not planning on speaking tonight. I know it wasn't planned. And we just arrived, I don't know, a couple hours ago, and I just landed a couple hours ago, and I don't know, a couple hours ago, and I touched Canadian soil, and I went, oh, it feels like home. Thank you.
So glad that you're home.
Me too, for so many reasons.
And I to this country, my country. Your country, yes.
Feels like home. We are so excited. We also recognize most of you are probably so exhausted from how much travel you've done.
It has been a whirlwind 24 hours since we arrived, and
adrenaline you have pumping, how excited you are for what is going to be one of the most outstanding, memorable, unforgettable, and connected weeks probably for you and for your families.
Just like so many of you, we know this is about family and friends and the community that Invictus has created and that Fisher House has created.
We are just thrilled to be here, and I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to
Introduce someone who means a lot to me, and I know means quite a lot to all of you.
You will see him throughout this week. You will see him at the games. You will see him probably curling with you, cheering you on at He'll be cheering you on at wheelchair basketball. He'll be going down that... What is that? Is it the luge? Oh my gosh, you guys.
Oh my god. It's signed for her! Oh my gosh, you guys. The thing that I will never do, my husband will probably do 3 times because he wants to be there with you. He is in it with you.
In other words, Meghan is telling the audience that she's not that committed to this cause because she is unwilling to step outside her comfort zone and be a part of the team.
And so I just had to spend a little bit more time getting our little one settled at home. Milkshake, so school drop off. And as you know, with families, the big rush in the morning and getting ready for school and packing the lunch boxes and making breakfast, and my husband's in all of that with us.
Is that a thing, the lunchbox thing? I don't know. This is when I feel really old.
And then he'll be on his phone and Archie will say, Papa, why are you on your phone? He's like, because it's Invictus. I'm getting ready for Invictus.
Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you see me?
Papa, why are you on your phone? He's like, because it's Invictus. I'm getting ready for Invictus. It means so much to him. You are his family, just as we are his family.
But as a family. So I'm really, really proud to be a part of this Invictus family.
So it is my entire pleasure and complete honor to introduce to the stage my husband, the father of our very sweet, excited children who are cheering you on from California. For you, and we can't wait till one day to be able to bring our kids also so they can experience just how amazing this is.
Today's Mother's Day, so it feels appropriate, that though of course we are missing our children, I'm missing my babies, it feels very appropriate to be on the motherland.
The father of our very sweet, excited children who are cheering you on from California.
Papa, can you see me? Papa, can you find me in the night?
And I hope you recognize how much of his heart he has poured into every single beat that has gotten all of you to this week that is going to be spectacular. I need you to know that. I need you to know how much it means to him and how much each of you means to him.
What a stupid thing to say. Essentially, Meghan is saying, this is not about you guys. This is about Harry. You need to recognize that he is sacrificing his time to be here with you. So you need to understand that. Meghan, shut up, man. Just shut up. I think I'm at my quota today of Harry and Meghan. Like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't look at them anymore. It's too much. Just go away, please. Just go the F away. That's all we want. Just for a little bit. Give us some peace. I mean, do you guys realize that these two have been going nonstop every single day since this year started? I can't with you, Meghan, anymore. I really can't. Like, give us something new or just go home because, you know, recycling this, it's so old and it's so tiring. And this constant repetition, it's not working with your bullshit brainwashing. Nobody is believing and buying it. So just go home. Anyhow, what do you guys think? What do you think of this gong show? I mean, 6 years this has been going on. How are we still here? Why are we still here? Anyhow, leave your thoughts below. As always, I'll be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later.
So it is
Bye.
my entire pleasure and complete honor to introduce to the stage my husband, Prince Harry, founder of the Invictus Games, the Duke of Sussex.
I was such a fraud.